Basically, I've got one big story, like this story from my childhood that I remember so vividly, and it was like such a wild fear when I think about it now. So let me set the scene. I'm in art class, right? We were basically, I think it was like a free drawing time or something like that. You could draw whatever you wanted. Let me give you some history. I had a TV in my room, right? At 7 years old. And I had watched Adult Swim when it first premiered. They used to do these old promos with like actual like old people doing aerobics, water aerobics and stuff like that. Oh, I ate it up. I loved it. When Adult Swim first aired, Space Ghost Coast to Coast, home movies, which I'm going to be talking about here in a sec, Aqua Teen, all that stuff. Like when that first started, oh my God. As a 7-year-old kid, I probably shouldn't have been watching it, but it wasn't so, it was on this borderline of like, yeah, I probably shouldn't have been watching it, but like it probably wasn't that detrimental to my mental health. You know what I mean? Or maybe it was, and that's why I'm just like delusional about it now. I had a TV in my room, and every night, like I would have to go to bed at like whatever, 9 or 9:30, I forget. And then 10 o'clock, Adult Swim would start up. I would be watching that every single night, and I would have to turn it down low so no one noticed. Occasionally I'd have to like pop the TV off if I heard my parents coming down the hallway. Now, fast forward to the art room. We're drawing cartoon characters. I drew Brendan Smalls. Can we get a picture of Brendan Small up? So I drew him because I thought he was this cool character, right? He had orange hair, it was all spiky, whatever. And I'd written like Adult Swim on the top and bottom, and had Brendan Small. And we had a substitute art teacher that day, right? It was not our normal art teacher, who was this very like, she was definitely an outcast in the teacher community, right? But we had a sub, and the sub was very like, she would talk to us about video games. She was like a little bit younger, right? She was a little bit nerdier, but she was very cool, right? We loved her because she would talk about Mario Kart, and she would talk about all the stuff that we were doing, watching and doing. I was whatever coloring my picture, and she walks up and she was like, "What's this?" And at first I was like, well, it's a picture of a cartoon character. Is in my head, I was like, boom, headshot, boom, headshot. Like she would leave me alone after that, right? But she's like, no, what's this? And points to the text. It says Adult Swim. She's like, what is Adult Swim? And then suddenly like the walls started coming in, right? And then I started freaking out. Because I was like, oh my God, she knows. I remember it so vividly. Like I can picture her face now, like when she was asking me these questions. And I'm freaking out and I'm sweating bullets. And I know now that it was just because she knew what Adult Swim was. She was basically just trying to see how I would describe it or what I would say. But in my head, I was just like, it's a show. And she kept pushing, and she was like, oh, what kind of show is it? And I was just like, it's a TV show. And would not say any more than that. I was frozen in fear. Because what? Because in my mind, like in my like 7-8-year-old mind, like if she knew what that TV show was, like I don't know. I guess like I went through all of the worst case scenarios, which would be like, she's gonna tell my mom and dad, I'm not gonna be able to watch Adult Swim. They're gonna take my TV. They're gonna ruin my life. You know what? Like, why was that like my ultimate fear at that time, was like losing all that stuff? Or if I had said like, oh, it's a show for adults, she would immediately call my mom and I would get in trouble. She would think my mom was a terrible parent. She would think I was a terrible kid. I don't know what kind of like scenarios I was running through my head, but in my head they were bad. They were bad scenarios, and I wanted no part of it. And that's why I couldn't muster up any words other than just, it's a show, you dumb bitch. Anyway, side note, Home Movies is a fantastic show.